Hi, good evening, and welcome to Sisters of Legacy 2025. We have not seen you guys since last year, so this is our first show of the new year. We are gonna run one of our very old intros, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back for our first show of the year. And what better month to have the first show than March, which is Women's Appreciation Month? Did y'all know that March?
Yes.
Absolutely not. It's a good month to be appreciated. Birthday month and all. Sounds good. I like that.
Right. And it is Vanessa's birthday month.
Happy
Her
birthday,
birthday will be
Mom.
coming
Thank
along,
you.
and I'm sure she will be celebrating it extensively
As she
because
should.
she definitely does. She does not disappoint for her birthday. So, ladies, it has been a few months since we've been on. Of course, we've talked and we've caught up, but anybody watching the video has not seen us on air since last year. So, any updates, anything you guys want to share before we jump into some conversation?
Updates. Life is good.
Okay, life is good. Vanessa?
Well, after a very long time, I have completed my bachelor's degree. So that is quite
Woo!
the accomplishment. So
It is.
I love that.
I put it up in a frame in my office, and somebody walked in and it was like, "You got your degree?" I was like, "Yeah." They was like, "Oh my God, you didn't even say anything." I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm so sorry."
I love that.
But
Listen,
yeah,
that is
so that
great.
was very
Mhm.
long time coming. So let's see what 2025 got popping for me. I don't know yet, but I'm excited to see what's next. Something else, some huge and major accomplishment for this year. So let's see. Thank you, Trina.
So, was it hard to go back at this big age?
Um, yes and no.
Okay.
In this big age, I am considered an auntie, so little tech technology challenged. I did
Mhm.
my last class online, and
Okay.
it was difficult because I don't know, I just couldn't get like all these links. I got to go here to read this, and over
Mhm.
here to take the test, and over there to. It was a lot. I think nursing school probably I felt was harder because there was so much more that I had to encompass. But honestly, if I did it, then it couldn't really be too hard, right? Like I was able to um, complete the task at hand. So I think it was a lot trying to juggle work
Mhm.
and my home life and this class. So the dynamics was a little difficult, but I was determined to get the job done. So it is like, if you're real tech savvy and you can master all of those things. Like I failed my first two quizzes because I just didn't know what I was doing, trying to find the material and stuff. But by the second and third week, like I had it all under control. Had my son help me. Okay, I'm gonna need you to tell me where this is. Where do I go for that and stuff like that. So it was quite the experience, I must say. And it was boring because it was a history class and it wasn't good history. It wasn't nothing that was grabbing me. So it was that.
Okay. And Shanetta, you said life is good. How is school? How are your wonderful children, your
They
students?
are fun. They are fun, still exciting as ever. This next couple of weeks, I have allowed a shift in what we're doing in the classroom a little bit. I am doing song analysis. So
Okay.
we it started actually because of Anthony. So he sent the bingo and was like, is Bingo the farmer or the dog? So when I did that with them, and it was so much fun trying to get them to analyze and to write out their reasons as to why Bingo was, of course, most of them said it was a dog, but why Bingo was the dog and not the farmer. I was like, we could keep this going. So now every week we have a song of the week, and they have to listen to the song and like analyze it. So this week I used The Boy Is Mine, Brandy and Monica, and they had to try to solve the mystery of who was really his girlfriend. Was it Brandy? Was it Monica? So I had to do the whole introduction of, this is Brandy, this is Monica, these are the lyrics, look at what they're saying, they're arguing over a boy. And then I had to say, hey girls, we don't argue over boys, so just FYI, we won't do this. However, let's look at the video. So then we watched the video, and I had them take the lyrics and highlight which girl was singing which parts, and then use the video and what was happening in the video to determine the 1998 mystery, which they think is so old, by the way, because like we're like, oh yeah, and then we're like 1998, yeah, that was just yesterday, and they're like, what? So having kids look at you like 1998, this song is old, but that was this week's song. Next week's song is going to be 2 songs. I'm doing them in Spanish. So I'm doing Selena's song, Como de Flor, something like that. It's about like a flower. And then I'm doing, We Don't Talk About Bruno, but I'm doing the Spanish version of We Don't Talk About Bruno. So they're going to have to analyze the lyrics. Yeah, some of my kids speak Spanish anyway, so it's going to make it a little bit more fun for them. So they're going to have to analyze the lyrics, and then I'm going to have a writing prompt and make them write about it. So it's been fun. And I'm going to use a new song every week. So,
well, who did they pick?
Right. I just want to know
Brandy, because I need to know.
Most of the kids picked Brandy. However, a couple of them were like, no, I really think it was Monica though. But most of the kids, some of them still have to finish it out later, like early next week. But most of the kids were picking Brandy because their reasoning was, in the video, the girls live next door to each other. And so he literally was going, at the end of the video, he was going to Brandy's apartment to knock on the door. And he knocked on her door. And as soon as she opened the door, he smiled like, hey girl, like, like that was his boo. And then Monica, like, she opened the door wider, and Monica was standing right there with her. He was like, oh man, I've been caught. So most of them picked Brandy because of that. They were saying at the end, he was literally going to see Brandy. So it had to be her. So that was their pick.
I don't know. I didn't remember that they lived next door to each other, but okay.
Yep. They were
98 was a little bit ago. It was a little bit ago.
Yeah, they were arguing through the walls and both on the phone, leaning up against the wall. One picked up the phone to talk to him, hung up. The other one picked up the phone and talked to him. Yeah, it was a very interesting video. He wasn't that cute either. Like, Mekhi Phifer was not really the boy to be fighting over. Like, they could have picked anybody, but like, I don't know. That's my little tangent. I'm just like, Mekhi Phifer though? Like, that's who we picked?
Yeah. Somebody a little more off with the shirt worthy, if you will.
Like, that's who we're fighting over? I didn't realize this.
They said in the 90s he was cute.
Was he though?
I don't know.
Like maybe like Curious George cute.
Okay, so to start this year off, we're going to talk about capacity, or the lack of capacity. Like, I think of it sometimes in terms of, and I guess it kind of boils down to capacity, like our patience level, our endurance level. Like some days you see people and you're like, yeah, I don't have the capacity for him today, or her today, or whoever it is. Some days it just feels like I just don't have the bandwidth. I don't have enough to be able to give you and still walk away whole. Um, and I was thinking of it in terms of other people. Like sometimes, you see people and you be like, oh, she was a little shady today, but do we give people the grace that maybe today she just didn't have the capacity? Maybe she it was spent emotionally or mentally or whatever it was by the time they got to you. And yeah, they were maybe short, shady, whatever, however you want to characterize it. But was it really about you, or were they just like out for the day? And I was wondering, like, do we think about that in terms of people? Because I know plenty of times I'd be like, nope, not today. Sometimes if people call me, I'd be like, nope, I can't do it today. But then, like, when I'd be sitting and thinking and pondering, I was like, ooh, but I don't ever really give people that grace. Like, I don't ever, like if I call you and you be like short and shady, please know that you're going on my do not call list. Like, and so being that I was thinking about it, I was like, what better way to open up the year than to think about, do we give people the same grace, that we would expect them to have with us? Is it a capacity thing, or is it just this is who you are?
Mm-hmm. I would have to say, I don't think that I take that into consideration with other people. There are moments where I know that I may not be feeling it and I may not have the capacity to deal but I also feel like I don't get that liberty. I feel like I could say that I'm tapped out and that I've had enough, but because I opened my eyes today, I don't really have the liberty to be tapped out and over it. I have to function. I have to move. I have to go through the day. I have to do the things. And sometimes, even when I'm not feeling it, I have to flip that switch, turn it on, and give you everything that I got, even though I'm not feeling it. So like even this morning, when in the mornings, I'm on the phone with my husband when I'm going into Starbucks to get my breakfast. And this morning he was like, "Ooh, you didn't have the same, what did he say? He said, your pitch is off with your good morning in Starbucks this morning. Like you didn't sing it the same way you normally sing it in the morning." So I was like, really? And I didn't really think of it. It was just, I just wasn't on yet. And the switch had not been flipped yet. So a lot of times I feel like I just don't get that liberty of not turning the switch on. So it probably causes me not to give as much grace to others for not being on, because it's like, well, we're awake. So like, flip your switch on. Like, let's go. Talk to me. Do all the things with me. Why do you have an attitude? Now, am I going to say any of those things to anyone? No, I'm just going to be like, oh, that's different. That's weird. And I might not think about it beyond that moment again, unless someone says, hey, did you notice that so-and-so is like off today? And I might be like, oh yeah, they were kind of short with me this morning too, but it's whatever. Cause I can't say that I don't care enough, but at the same time, like you'll be all right. We'll talk later. You'll be fine. So I don't know. Just my thought. As I prepare to sneeze. Sorry, it's not coming though. I was going to do the whole thing.
Okay, Vanessa.
Well, my patience is personally very short. The stage in my life, so I am working on creating capacity for people with my profession. It's necessary, and so I do try to create the capacity for people and things and situations, but I do also attempt to, I don't want to say create like a safety net for myself, or maybe boundaries might be a little bit more of an appropriate word, because that capacity for me can easily turn into me overextending myself in those situations. And so, like for me, it's a constant struggle to remind myself that, like you say, you give grace, you show, people, you extend that same thing that you could possibly, need or expect for yourself. So, and sometimes you need that stretch. Like, honestly, there have been situations, i.e., this job, that have stretched me and allowed me to grow in ways and dimensions that I had no intentions of doing so. So, capacity can also be a good thing to, like find that area where you may need to grow and be, a little bit more available than you have been. So,
Okay. So like I think most of the time I don't like I guess I kind of teeter between the two. Like some days I'm really like Shanetta, like I don't really care. Like not in a bad way, but it's just like I have so many other things that I could put this energy into.
Mhm.
Like I'm more selective of where I put it. And then some days, like you said, Vanessa, like sometimes, trying to create that capacity, you allow people kind of to overrun you in a sense. So on most days, I find myself teetering between the two. Like, so I have a crew, maybe like 14, and they're all men. So not only am I the only woman, but and you already know I'm this tall and like everybody's tall and everybody's whatever. And so I find myself oftentimes like sometimes I answer the phone and I'm already in that mode. Like I already know it's gonna be something with you and I'm short. And they be like, oh, I didn't even do nothing yet. And you already giving me the voice. And then like I find myself reminding myself, okay, let's try to bring it back. And then I always regret it too, though, because by the end of the conversation, yeah, I should have started there
you
with
was
them because
right.
right, it's always something that you knew better than that you didn't do. But I also find myself struggling sometimes, like with my daughter, who is very dramatic and very needy and very clingy,
Mhm.
even at 15. So sometimes when I come home and I have far exerted my capacity with the 14, she needs more than
So
I
much.
got.
And
Yeah,
that's where I feel like I don't have the liberty because like there are moments where it's like I don't want to be on, but then
right.
I get a phone call or a FaceTime. And as soon as she pops on the screen, so like it's just and it's like I can't be tired right now. I can't
Right.
be right now. I have to be on because I have so many people who need me. So I don't have that liberty. And that's what I wasn't nodding because I feel like your baby is dramatic. I was nodding because
Oh no,
that
but she is. It's okay
I
though.
wasn't connected.
I mean, I love my little dramatic baby, but she is like, and then she like when I'm almost out of any bit of patience, she's you're being mean. And then it's like, okay, I'm sorry. Let me stop what I'm doing and give you all the energy I don't have left. So like, I'm constantly trying to remind myself, like, I can't be overdrawn here because yeah. So I thoroughly understand what you're saying. Like, it does feel like sometimes that you don't have the opportunity to turn it off. But then I feel like, but other people do it. They turn it off and they just fine. Like, like if you think about it, other people turn it off
Yeah.
and they're just fine. So I'm working on how to get that off switch
Yeah.
going.
I don't know that like and I definitely see other people who are able to flip the switch and just be off. But it's like I feel like and it's probably like more of a mom guilt or even more than a mom guilt, a wife guilt, or a sister guilt, or even when I'm at work, you know, a teacher guilt, because like it's like, but you really do need me, huh? Like, so I'm just not going to turn it off, even though I can see all these other people are turning it off. I'm like, maybe this is just what I'm here for. Maybe this is just what I'm meant to do and to be. So let me just go ahead and do what I do. And, you know, sometimes, you know, maybe in my sleep, I'll get replenished. And, you know, unless you wake me up in the middle of the night and need me to be on again. And then, you know, here we go, because you called all the way from wherever you are. And you're on my do not disturb list of favorites. So your phone call comes right on through. Hello. What's going on? And then you can't sound asleep because, you know, it's 2:00 in the morning. Of course I wasn't asleep. No, I'm awake, waiting for you to call me. Hello. What can I do for you? So yeah, you just don't always get that liberty. Which is probably why I overlook people who, you know, walk in and like they're out and they're tapped out. And it's just like, oh, you'll be okay. You know, unless you come tell me, hey, I really need you to understand that I am full. I'm at my capacity. I can't do anything else. I'm probably going to look right past it and be like, oh, you didn't mean to be mean to me. You didn't mean that at all. Because I haven't done anything to you. So I know you didn't mean it towards me. When you get done feeling how you feel, come on down here. Because clearly you're not angry with me. I didn't wake up with you this morning. And that's usually my attitude about it, is that, oh, you got attitude? You'll be fine. I'll come back in 5 minutes when you got a better attitude.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes to reset.
Probably
be in this time out for 5 minutes.
I'll be right back. I'll be back in a minute when you feel better.
Okay. I mean, but that's a great attitude to have, in the sense that you don't just, you know, oh, I'm not dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? That you are able to come back. Because that's the part that I don't have. I'm more like, oh yeah, you in a bad mood today. Like, so I don't, like, you know, for me, I'm like, oh, you're in a bad mood today. Okay. So I'm not gonna talk to you no more today. And then tomorrow I'll be like, oh, you was nasty yesterday. I'm not gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can roll it, like, you know.
Meanwhile, I'm like, are you done? Is your attitude over?
See, I guess that's the part, you know, that's the part that I'm trying to work on, you know, giving people the grace to kind of be off, like, especially because I understand how hard it is to be on all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it. Like, when you feel like you don't have, you know, like at night when it's okay. So my husband works at night. So when he gets home, it's 11 o'clock. You know, by 11 o'clock, I want to be done. I don't even want to think, you know, at this time. But now I gotta, hey, honey, how was your day? And what happened? Really? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, even when I should be able to just coast through, you know, you still gotta, you know, gather it up. So I am working on being able to give people the grace that I guess maybe I don't feel like people give me.
And that I think that could definitely be a thing. Like, and that's, like, you're just, meanwhile, I'm like, hey, listen, I don't get to turn off. You don't get to turn off. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I don't get to check out. You can't check out either. We're in this together. I got questions. I'll be back. Fix your attitude while I'm gone. Because I'm coming back to harass you in a few minutes.
Uh-oh. We lost one.
Yeah.
So maybe she's having some capacity issues with her internet. Hopefully.
She's like, oh, Lord, she's getting on my nerves already. Let me get out of here.
That's possible, too. I mean, but is it fair, though? Like, I don't know. Because I think, should we expect people to be on every time we want them to?
I think that in our personal lives, not so much. But when it comes to business and professionalism, absolutely. you're getting paid to be here. So I'm gonna need you to leave, like check it at the door. Right. And like, let's get through our work day. And then you can pick back up. Now, if you want to talk about it while you're here, and you feel like I'm a good listening ear, I'll hear you out and talk you through it so that like we can get you moving forward with the work day. I'm here to help. I'll gladly listen to you. I'll let you cry it out and everything, because who knows? I might need to cry it out in a couple of days, and like maybe you'll be my ear. Who knows? But I do feel like when it's a professional setting, you're getting paid to do what you do. So you have to be able to turn off whatever you need to turn off, the personal side, and turn on so that you can function for your job. Family wise, I think I'm more understanding. Like my daughter's favorite word these days is being overstimulated. And she'll be like, Mom, I'm just overstimulated. Please stop. So when she gets to that point, if I'm like yapping and doing all the things, when she starts saying that, I can respect that space and allow her to have those moments. But it's because it's her. It's because it's my kids. Even though I would not flip that on her and give her the same expectation, even though I have feelings just like she does, I would never give her the same back in return. Like, I've had enough today. I can't do this with you. I'm going to always turn on, even if I feel like being off, because it's her or because it's them, as one of the kids. But I can respect her telling me I need time. But what I also try to teach her in needing time is that sometimes you don't get all the time you need. And because of that, you have to learn how to push through that feeling of, I just don't feel it right now, but I got to do it. Because there are going to be times in life where, and that could also be like just a personal clout that I have too, is that there were moments where I didn't feel it, but I had to do it. I had to go beyond my feelings, because right now it's not about my feelings. It's about what I need to do, what I need to accomplish, where I need to get to. So I have to push past it. So that's one of my things, is that when I'm poking the bear, so to speak, it's like, well, you got to be able to push through hard things. It's hard. You feel like you don't have the ability, the capacity, or the whatever you want to call it. You're overstimulated, but you got to be able to function when you feel like this sometimes, because you can't always drop the ball. And not just with her, it's just with my daughter, like we just kind of talk it out a little bit more. But even with the boys, it's like, yeah, I get it. You're worn out. This is a lot. You got a lot going on. Mike, not so much, because I'm not in a teaching him things phase, because he a grown man. So like, but his capacity for things is just very different than the average ordinary person. He's from another planet. So, he's always like, I'm ready, I'm on. Like, you could wake him up at 3:00 in the morning. He'd be like, let's go. Sir, stop talking. No, let's not go yet. So he's different. But even in friendships, I feel like I probably do offer the grace and the space for, people I just can't right now. Okay, well, let me know if it's something I can do to lift what you're feeling so that you can. And I think that's just my approach with it. I give you 15 minutes, but I don't know. After 15 minutes, I'm like, yeah, all right, now let's go. What we got to do? We got stuff to do. We got to keep this train rolling.
Wow. Okay. 15 whole minutes.
15 whole minutes. That's it. We got to keep this train rolling. Let's go.
Like I said, I definitely have to. I'm working on it in my mind. At least I'm working on it. Like, I'm processing the thoughts of giving people the grace, even when I don't feel like. Give me a thumbs up if you ready to come back in, Vanessa. Can you hear when you're in the back?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Vanessa? I don't think she can hear me. Okay, let's just give it a try. Let's see what happens. Can you hear me, Vanessa?
She may not have the sound back on yet.
No sound.
We can hear her though.
Yes, we can hear her. I don't believe she could hear us.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take her out and give her a minute. Um, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. I don't know. Is she saying she ready? Okay, I don't think she's ready. I will say, 2025 is a new year, for most, well, for everybody. We already in the first quarter of it. The first quarter has already uh oh, the first quarter is already, past
Mm-hmm.
where or here or however you want to say it. It's not too late to reevaluate things. I'm still every day trying to, like everybody else, figure out how you move forward, figure out how to be better, all of the things. So, my part of my 2025 is just trying to do things slightly different. That is, and to be honest, it kind of started before 2025. 2024 was a very interesting year for me. I cannot say, okay, are you ready to come back? Yes. She's smiling. I'm gonna go with yes. Okay. Okay, you're back.
I don't have any capacity to explain what just happened.
It's okay. Sometimes
Yeah, we're
it
gonna have
happens.
grace, right?
Sorry, guys.
Well, I was just saying, 2025, even though we're in the first quarter, this is a new year. Especially because this is, like our first show. And so, this is kind of one of those ways you remind you, I'm not gonna say set your intentions, but reminding yourself of, maybe some of the things that you want to do differently or be better at. And so I frequently use this show for those types of things. When I have things in my head that I think, one way, I always want to hear other people's take on it, hear other people's opinions and what works for others, in hopes of finding, the thing that will work for me. So, Vanessa, I know you dropped out, had issues. Did you want to add anything?
Um, I don't know. I think, like I said, this job has definitely challenged me to be a better person. There were definitely areas of me that I had no intentions of working on. I was happy being raggedy in those areas. Had no like to, I just didn't. Like I was good with where I was, who I was, how I was, but to be in this role, like as I started learning and doing, like I felt the need to do better and be better and step up to the challenge that are associated with this role. And I find myself, um, in some areas being somebody that I wasn't to the degree of like the standards that I have and how I handle people in situations where before if you did something and I was just a teammate, I ain't really care, it didn't really matter to me. But now that I hold this position and I'm in this office, I guess I can say maybe I take more pride in certain things. How I talk to people when I was just a PCT, what you not gonna do, what we not gonna have, and what it ain't gonna be was always my attitude. Like I don't, I didn't have to put up with nothing. I didn't have to take nothing, which is why I held back so long getting into the role of leadership, because I already know, like I had a bad attitude, not like my attitude. So when I'm ready to act up, be rude, be stank, what you gonna do? I'm out. But in this role, I have to lead by example and I have to, be more accountable and show up. and be a better version of myself. So, yeah.
So do you guys think that like when you're dealing with like a person like me who is like, well, I have to be on all the time. So listen, I don't have time for you to be off right now. So I need you to be on because I'm on. What would someone who like that's literally my approach. I'm like, especially in like the work area, is like, oh, you not feeling it today? Sorry, we don't get to not feel it. So, like, would it be more of like, let the person get it out? Hey, what's bothering you today? What you got going on? Why you not your normal self? What you got going on, to kind of help them get past that so they can get to the business of things, or leave them alone? Like, really, for real, leave them alone.
Well, so for me, well, I'll just talk about this job. So in this position, typically I'm like, okay, what's the issue? How can we work it out so we can move forward? Like, or how can I help you be a better employee? Because I need you to be able to produce. And, like in my head, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I need you to produce. So, how can I help you be able to produce? Now, the flip side of that, though, is like, like you said, you're the person that's always on. So, for me, like, when I go to work, whatever I got going on, like, I put that to the back of my mind because I have to be on at work. So maybe once a week, or this week at the beginning of the month, you could be having an issue. But what you can't be doing is every week you got a different issue. Because that's where, like, because then it gets to the point where, listen, when you come to work, I need you to be at work. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, I can offer you grace in the beginning and, try to help and be beneficial, but this is not going to be standard operating procedures for us. You know what I'm saying? At every
Right.
time you got something going on. Like, we have to figure out how to get you to where you can be on at work, from this time that you're scheduled, from the time, that you're supposed to be here to the time the job is over. Like, I need you to be on. So, yeah, I can be the patient one to how do we help you get here? But I'm also the one, like, after a certain amount of time, no,
We can't
we
keep
need
doing
better, or, yeah, like, or you got to find another job. Like, that's my take, because I do kind of hold that position that, yeah, you're not working out. You're going to have to go.
Yeah.
I think
Vanessa?
sometimes you need a wake up call. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am definitely thinking about, different situations. And for me, when I'm trying to just, maybe be positive or explain something, I'm very matter of fact. And in my head, I think that's the best way to do it, so that all of those crazy thoughts that I'm, when the crazy lady's standing up in my head on top of the couch, like, and I'm trying to, it comes off sometimes not the way that I need it to be perceived. And so I think in these conversations and in these moments, like, you need to be aware of where you're off so we can help you. Because, this is always a situation. And when this happens, this is how we get here. You know what I'm saying? So I think, always being on is something that probably comes with a job, depending on who you are and what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I think about your life and the capacity that you live, that's just how it is for you. You know what I'm saying? With me, it's a little more situational for me, based on, what I've been through and where I come from. Because, like, if we're talking about you keeping your job, moving up to the next level, trying to get you some more money, trying to get your hustle, like, I'm right there with, that does not go off for me because of my struggle to get to where I am today and what I had to go through. So I'm, that's what I'm for, the people, and I'm rooting for the underdog. And so for me, that's an area that I really don't turn that off.
Right.
But I think it's just you need to challenge people sometimes, like you said, to turn it on. Like what's really going on with you? Why you can't, you know what I'm saying? And then I think about you and I'm like, oh man, when do you get the time to relax and not have all of that, everybody pulling, everybody needing, you know what I'm saying? But you know, that, you know, God will definitely replenish you and put you in those places and spaces where you get what you need to be able to continue to stay on and not, you know, have you like the Energizer Bunny over there, you know, always going and doing. And I definitely get it. But like for me, the space I'm in where I'm trying to do that, but still, like I said, be my own safe space and create boundaries for myself and people and not just always be drained, because I notice sometimes I feel like people be pulling on me. You know what I'm saying? Not like necessarily physically, but like, you know, before I took this role, like, you know, I was just one of the nurses in the facility and people were always like, oh, you okay? You don't seem, you know, like your normal self. If I don't come in acting crazy and being super bubbly or whatever. So, you know, I started realizing that they look to me for that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, I can't, you know, there's been mornings when I'm like, oh, I don't want to come. I don't want to do. I don't want to see. And I'm in the car, like trying to give myself a pep talk and I want to cry and I want to go to bed. And I know that these people are expecting me to be this way and show up. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like
I think knowing, like having that expectation that there's somebody who's going to be drawing from what you give and from what you have, that it definitely causes that switch to, you know, to be shaken a little bit to where you're like, yeah, I got to, you know, I got to pull it together because I got to have it, you know, for these. I will say that I guess when I turn off, funny, my daughter is texting me, when I do turn off, is when I'm watching what I call smut TV. Unless, like I said, somebody interrupts it. Because, like, that's my moment where, like, I'm completely brain dead. Like, I'm not focusing on nothing. I'm just giggling at whatever crazy is happening on the TV. Right. Because that's just my, like, you know, and it's the dumbest things to watch sometimes because it's like, why are you this, you know, intelligent and, you know, you are. But yet you watch this show. And I literally will watch and just giggle and laugh like they are so crazy. But that's literally like my off until, you know, something occurs or something happens.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, I think it's important.
I get $20.
I think it's important that, you know, we find those moments, like Vanessa said, to replenish yourself because, you know, as mothers and wives and facilitators, and as I'm talking, I'm getting text from work as I'm talking. First of all, don't text me like this. Um you know, you have to have those moments where you can, you know, replenish yourself and have some downtime. And I think those are very important. Um, you know, but grace, I think grace goes a long way. And I find definitely in 2025, not too many people have grace for anything. We don't have grace for one another. And most of the time we have very little grace for ourselves. Like, you know, sometimes I have no grace for myself, like, you know, with those little margin for errors. Like it's like, you know, so I think it's important to um focus on increasing our grace for in the natural sense for people, with people, for ourselves. I think that goes a long way in terms of capacity. The more grace you have, I think it helps. But like you said, Vanessa, boundaries are important too because I don't understand. Because it's important. Uh you know, that's another thing about always being on because sometimes people want you to be on over here when you're trying to be on over here, which means it's
Yeah.
not your turn. It's
Invasive
not your
of
turn.
your time.
Yeah, like
Right.
your turn is over for the day. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get to expand. I did definitely want to start in March. I thought it was a great time to start with it being Women's Month. Just to talk about the different things as women, as usual, that we endure, that we notice, that we change, that we look to change, and some of the things, like you said, Vanessa, that you're just like, yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with where I am. I'm gonna stay right here because sometimes that is the grace that you need in that moment. Like, I just need to stay right here. Right now is not the time. You know what I'm saying? To be trying to expand, like it's good to know those things. So, per usual, we are back. We will be on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Actually, yeah, unfortunately, we won't be on next Thursday because I have a funeral to go to out of town. So
Oh,
I will be traveling next week. And of course, there are some things you cannot plan for, like funerals.
right.
So um, we will be returning the week after at 8 p.m. Hopefully, you will join us. In the interim, ladies, did you have any last words? Nope.
Good job.
Well,
Create more capacity in your life. Good, bad, or different. To do a little bit more you, be a little more there for other people. Just figure out how to balance it all out.
wonderful. So until next week, guys, stay safe and have grace. Look, that rhymed.
Yeah.
Good night.
Turn my headphones up.
Welcome to the Sisters of Legacy. They are building